O people of Cranberry Isles, well you know how Captain S. Hadlock was lost long ago. They found him, gun poised on bent knee in the snow, hard frozen, encased by a stiff Arctic blow. And some of you islanders also might tell how Hadlock was bound for a circle of hell, reserved for those humans with egos so swelled that they wreaked devastation wherever they dwelled. For surely he'd make a most powerful ghost, his stubbornness being far greater than most, but spirits far stronger, a heavenly host, have held him at bay and protected the coast. Sam Hadlock's maniacal, egoist craves led many to exile, and more to their graves. His dead could have risen, but stayed midst the waves for eternity, making sure Hadlock behaves. You'll hear them in gull calls and fishhawks' shrill screeches. You'll hear them in loons crying warnings from beaches. The seal in the harbor keeps watch and beseeches all spirit guards always to broaden their reaches. In wild, wintry storms from the north, you can hear it, the raging of Hadlock's persistence. Oh, fear it, he seeks a new host to retether his spirit. He'd spin his vile name ever slyly to clear it. But power in numbers, let's hope it prevails. This ghost army rides with your seals and your whales, and with Sea Mistress Sedna, old woman of tales, and on winds that fly dancing in billowing sails. Just listen and hear all their woes and their grief, the victims whose only mistake was belief in a blowhard who fancied himself a great chief, who'd never turn over a humbler new leaf. The slaughter of sea mammals, just the beginning of Hadlock's transgressions, his lifetime of sinning. He lured us from homes with his showman's face grinning to feed his obsessions for gaining and winning. Oh, I and the young Inuk mother, beguiled by Hadlock's sweet lies of a land rich and wild. I left home forever with husband and child, across the great seas that swelled rampant and wild. 'Twas sea woman Sedna, she tried to alert me that Hadlock was shallow and soon would desert me. He made me feign ignorance, worked to pervert me, to please gawking crowds who would touch, poke, and hurt me. In festering cities my child's health declined. At my pleas to sail home, Hadlock stood deaf and blind. She sickened and died. I went out of my mind and chose death over living, for death was more kind. Oh, I am her grieved Inuk man, stricken down. He showed me at fairs and at court like a clown. For 3 years I grieved and wished only to drown, but Hadlock saw nothing but his own renown. I had to push Ulu, our only dog left, to drag my sled daily, courageous and deft. When Ulu expired, I was newly bereft, my family all stolen through Hadlock's cruel theft. 'Twas then I heard word through his crew's undertones. He'd sold their dead bodies to pay off his loans. The scientists took them to study their bones. Then madness destroyed me. I died, drowned in groans. But even in death I did not make escape. He ravaged my body, a posthumous rape, by stuffing and showing my corpse 'neath a drape, where audience members filed through. mouths agape. His Inuit victims were dead. No surprise that Hadlock's despicable zoo saw demise. He cut all his losses and sailed with his prize, a Prussian new wife, newest dupe to his lies. Back home in the Cranberries, Hadlock, undaunted, regaled tales of grandeur, his gold snuff box flaunted. He spun a new scheme of great riches he vaunted to sailors, convinced he'd provide what they wanted. His plan was for more exhibitions abroad. With seals taxidermy, the folks will be awed. My fame will rekindle, my name they will laud. But Hadlock's ambitions were fatally flawed. I'm Samuel, his first wife's first child out of 3. Mom died, and he left us 4 years for a spree as a showman in Europe, then home again. He hatched the scheme that would lead to my death in the sea. Oh, we are the crew of the Minerva, the ship of 18 bright sailors upon that doomed trip. Our captain, magnetic in presence, firm grip, held all of us spellbound until his last slip. Our hold was a-bursting with seal pellets, fresh slaughter. The weather was turning, a-churning the water. He cried, "One more seal, I can't leave till I've got her." He ditched our ship, icebound. It started to totter. Immersed in the stench of the seal flesh decay, our panic caught fire like a barn full of hay. 2 sailors plunged headlong into the iced bay. Some shrieked, and some wept, and some dropped down to pray. Minerva was slowly be crushed by the ice, and no sign of Hadlock to give us advice. Its planks strained and screamed till the hull paid the price. We perished in fear, man and seal, rats and mice. Oh, we are the families who had to outlast it, the years of not knowing, the hopes that were blasted. When finally word came, we cursed that old bastard. No loss to the Cranberries ever surpassed it. 'Twas Inuit 4 years gone by, told the story. They'd found Hadlock frozen, all blue-iced and gory, just yards from his half-sunken, frozen old dory. The distant Minerva, she'd slumped down to glory. They chipped away, vigorous at his corpse statue. They said his dead eyes, icy blue, glared right at you. They called out their fastest ice chopper, named Tattoo, dumped H in an ice hole, where corpses can't catch you. At least, that's the story. But some people think that the Inuit tossed him alive in the drink. They avenged their killed family with nary a blink, and watched with stern eyes as they let the man sink. The Prussian wife, angered by promises made, had seen her dead husband's last failed escapade. She hurled his collection, his stuffed seal parade, into the great ocean. Their rescue forbade. The relinquished dead seals, some folks hoped, might appease the spirit of Hadlock, locked in a deep freeze. They hoped he'd stay put in the cold Arctic seas, and corrupt no more souls, and pay heed to their pleas. But don't underestimate power and art of fiery charisma in icy cold heart. Old Hadlock's ambitions were so off the chart that even in death he persists in his part. On cold Arctic winds, he still slips under floors of cranberry houses and boathouses' doors. He tries to find some fragile soul's poisoned shores where he can sneak in with his wiles and abhors. But all of his dead their true promises keep. They watch o'er the living, awake and asleep. They ride on the gentle winds over the deep, on fins or on feathers that fly, swim or creep. While Hadlock, charisma-drenched cad, roams the land, he'll have to contend with this afterlife band. Those souls choosing never to rise, ever damned to thwart the malevolent egoist's hand. They'll keep up their watch and try always their best, but egos are mighty, as all can attest. There's always a chance some great force so obsessed might slip past their guard. Then your soul he's possessed. Oh, people of Cranberry Isles, listen well. Beware false bravado. Don't fall for its spell. 'Twas harrowing horrors his victims befell. Don't let yourself fall into that kind